All rise. All those having business before the Honorable David S. Tatel, Circuit Judge of the United States Court of Appeals in and for the District of Columbia, as designated United States District Court Judge. Now, presiding over this naturalization ceremony will draw nigh and give their attention. God save the United States of America and this honorable court. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors, the playing of the national anthem, and the retirement of the colors. Please be seated and come to order. This honorable court is now in session.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to all. Today is such a wonderful occasion. And as a judge on the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit, I am privileged to be presiding over this special naturalization ceremony. We are so fortunate that we can gather today in this incredible place, surrounded by the very documents that lie at the foundation of this nation: the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and its Bill of Rights. I feel particularly fortunate to be able to share this day with several of my dear friends who are themselves naturalized citizens. And I'd like to introduce each of them to you. They are Natwar Gandhi, born in India, Trong Van La, born in South Vietnam, Marco Troiano, born in Italy, Jamie Fofana, born in the United Kingdom, and Zain Sadiq, born in Iran. The court now recognizes Cheryl Horn, Public Operations Administrator for the District Court for the District of Columbia, to introduce those persons seeking to become new citizens.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, when your name is called, please stand and answer here or present and remain standing. Beatrice Rosebella Omia, Kenya. Marian Yastini, Iran. Berhani Tawalde Barayu, Eritrea. MD Salah Boyan, Bangladesh. Jillian Alma Hess, Canada. Adrian Graham Govia, Trinidad and Tobago. Hartmut Eric Schneider, Germany. Vladimir Etchikovrov, Bulgaria. Jaime Rodriguez Manzan, Spain. Maria Magdalena Umana Melendez, El Salvador. Abdul Rokib Seaver, Indonesia. David Desta Terrelange, Jamaica. Sinovia Saramatis, Greece. Makais Yumbi Bowie, Cameroon. Jean-Claude Anatoli Nascimento, Senegal. Joyvi Castaneda Newsom, Philippines. Zufan Waldo Gabriel, Ethiopia. Oleski Bumete, Ukraine. Gregory Newton Campbell, Jamaica. Sochi Marina Vasquez, Nicaragua. Mira Hussain, Nepal. Giulio K.G. Onini, Italy. Shamnay Shamlu, Iran. Dershay Demiki Gabramesko, Ethiopia. Bernice Lagore, Jamaica. Khalifa Omer Mohammed, Eritrea. Gustavo Alberto Lazarte, Peru. Veronica Tengu Teke, Cameroon. And Sarah Rebecca Lafinieri, Canada. Your Honor, there are 28 applicants for naturalization, and each of the applicants have been examined by the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, and the government has completed its investigation in each case. It has been determined that each applicant is eligible for naturalization at this time. I move that upon taking the oath of allegiance to the United States of America, each applicant present having answered to his or her name, to include those prayers for name change, be granted naturalization as citizens of the United States of America.
The motion is granted. The oath you are about to take dates all the way back to the Revolutionary War. A version of this oath was administered on the battlefield to new officers as they joined the Continental Army to fight for the independence of this country. And new citizens, such as yourselves, have been taking this oath since 1790. So, everyone who is being naturalized, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I hereby declare on oath that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure all allegiance and fidelity to any foreign prince, potentate, state or sovereignty, of whom or which I have heretofore been a subject or citizen, that I will support and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will bear arms on behalf of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform non-combatant service in the armed forces of the United States when required by the law, that I will perform that work of national importance under civilian direction when required by the law, and that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So help me God. Congratulations to each of you. Ms. Horn will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Everyone, please be seated.
Please welcome to the stage the Archivist of the United States, David S. Ferriero.
Good morning and welcome to the Rotunda of the National Archives. First and foremost, congratulations to our 28 new citizens. Congratulations. And a special welcome to Congressman French Hill, who has joined us this morning. Nice to have you with us. And thank you, Judge Tatel, for presiding over the ceremony today. It's also nice to have you back with us. The National Archives is proud to host this naturalization ceremony each year with the Department of Homeland Security, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, and the United States District Courts of the District of Columbia. Today is the 226th anniversary of the Bill of Rights. The original Bill of Rights is on display to my left. We have Founding Father James Madison to thank for this influential document. He introduced to Congress a list of amendments to the Constitution on June 8, 1789, which focused on rights-related amendments. Initially, there were 17 amendments. The Congress adopted 12 of them, and by December 15, 1791, 3/4 of the states had ratified 10 of them. These 10 amendments spell out the basic personal rights and freedoms that are guaranteed to every American, and this includes you now as new citizens. They include freedom of speech, religion and the press, the right to petition the government, the right to bear arms, and the right to due process of law and a speedy and fair trial. You will exercise these rights every day, and there is no better place to become an American citizen than here in front of the Charters of Freedom. Behind me is the Constitution, which is the basis on which the United States government is structured. In your naturalization oath of allegiance, you pledge to uphold this Constitution. And over to my right is the Declaration of Independence, the parchment that our founding fathers signed in 1776 in Philadelphia, setting us free from England. It took courage for them to sign it. They risked their lives, their families' lives, and all they owned. We have them to thank for the freedoms we enjoy today. These three documents, these charters of freedom, make up our foundation as U.S. citizens. I'm the grandson of Italian immigrants and great-grandson of Irish immigrants. Using passenger lists here at the National Archives, I discovered that my grandfather, at age 15, arrived in Boston from Naples aboard the ship Commonwealth on March 23, 1903. My grandmother, Antonia Giorgio, also from Naples, arrived on March 8, 1909, aboard the Romantic. Many Americans have stories like mine, and now you, our newly naturalized citizens, will have your own journey to share. We have over 13 billion pages of records here at the National Archives. Becoming American citizens makes you a part of the National Archives, too. Your naturalization records will be part of our holdings. Someday your descendants will search our records to discover your history. Here at the National Archives, history comes to life through our records. We house the tangible reminders of where we have been, how far we have come, and what is possible for each and every American. Each record, large or small, is a representation of a greater story, and the National Archives tells everyone's story. For this ceremony, we have decided that three of you, our newly naturalized citizens, would tell us your stories and what it feels like to become an American citizen. So please welcome Vladimir Todorov-Antikarov, Hartmut Schneider, and Giulio Chiuini from Italy. Welcome to all three of you.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. How does that feel? Well, I also thought we were going to tell very briefly our personal stories, and I thought it was very fitting that being in the National Archives and having those august documents behind us, I pulled something from my own personal archive, and this is a Journal of International Education from the spring of 1992. Which means 25 years and 2 seasons ago. And here on page 40, there's a little article by a young Eastern European guy called Vladimir Antikarov. And funny enough, this article is called Coming to America. So 25 years ago, I wrote this article, and it was all about discovering this country and being kind of your own Christopher Columbus. But I was focusing on this part that Christopher Columbus all the time thought that he's going to Japan and India. That's why we still call the Caribbean the East Indies. And part of coming to this country is shredding those old maps, shredding our own frameworks and prejudices, and actually open our eyes for this country. They have a cartoonist that kind of took my picture and made me look like some kind of a European nobility. Obviously, they've taken a picture of me with a bow tie and stuff. And at the time, the funniest thing was that, if you remember, ladies, 25 years ago, a lot of you were going to work with those big sneakers in the morning, and you changed in your elegant shoes only in the office. So I, as a European, found this very strange. So a lot of the ladies here are in all this big sneakers going to work, and I'm surprised and all that kind of stuff. So, but here we are, 25 years later. We're finally in. This is now our own country, and I think that it's time to move from this. I thought about reading you some chapter, doesn't matter. Oh, by the way, a second very important thing that tells you something about this country is my co-publisher on the next page, Maya Angelou. At the time, I didn't know who she was, so every time I show this to somebody, they say, "Oh, you were co-publisher with Maya Angelou." I'm like, it's about me, dude. Anyway. So now I know, and this tells you something about this country. This newly, fresh off the boat, grad student, blah, 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 was published next to this icon of American literature. So anyway, I just wanted to end up, now that it's our country, let's stay committed to what President Kennedy said in his inaugural address. It's not what the country can do for you. It's what you can do for this country. Let's be good immigrants. Let's add up more than we take away. Let's build more than we occupy. Let's clean more than we pollute. And let's heal more than we hurt. Thank you and congratulations, and thank you to all of you.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. It's the first time I've said that. It's exciting. And it's an honor to speak here today, so thank you very much. So when my family first moved 27 years ago from Italy to the United States, I was just 9 years old. And I could not understand why my parents would make my brother and I leave our friends behind. But as I grew older, I began to understand that my parents made this monumental move to seek an improved way of life, and ultimately to find happiness for themselves and for their children. This country embraced their hard work and allowed them to succeed in ways that could not have been done before. Thus, the phrase land of opportunity really gained a real meaning for me. This experience and understanding is in great part why I am really proud to be naturalized here today. So given my rights as a U.S. citizen, I hope to contribute in my own way to sustain and continuously improve this wonderfully diverse country. I believe this is a responsibility that we all must embrace, both existing citizens and us new ones, to ensure that each individual who chooses to reside in the United States may enjoy the equal opportunities that my parents found here, and which in turn they passed on to me. So congratulations to all of us, and thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Ferriero, Your Honor. It's a great pleasure to be here. I can assure you it's not a conspiracy that 3 Europeans in a row, former Europeans, I should say, deliver these words. Like probably most of us, U.S. citizenship means a lot of different things to me. I haven't voted in more than a decade, and I look forward to exercising that privilege. I'm also curious what it might be like to serve on a jury, although as a lawyer, I may not get selected. Most of all, however, citizenship for me is what I would call celebrating diversity together. And just to take my family as an example, I was born in Germany, lived there for about 30 years, came here about 12 years ago. My wife, who's with me here today, was born in Taiwan, came to the US when she was a very young child, was naturalized when she was 12, and we have 3 children, all of whom were born in the US, actually here in DC, and are US citizens. So that's our European, Asian, American joint venture, and for all of us to be able to share the same citizenship is very important to me. I think if we went around the room among the 28 who have received US citizenship today, we would find many people with similar stories like this, and I can't quite think of a country who has been so successful in making diversity an important element of the bond that we all share. So thank you again for celebrating this day with us.
My fellow Americans, congratulations. It is my great honor to join with Archivist Feriano in welcoming you to citizenship in our extraordinary democracy. And a special thanks to Vladimir Artikarov, to Hartmut Schneider, and to Giulio Giuliano for their lovely remarks. They're a hard act to follow. Today, you will join the more than 20 million citizens born in other lands who have chosen to make America their home. I know something of your journey because my own family, like nearly all American families, was once new to this country. A century ago, my grandparents, Mendel and Dora Abramowitz, came by ship to Ellis Island, fleeing the deadly pogroms of the Russian Empire. They were penniless. They spoke no English, and Dora was pregnant. Like you, they sought a better life on these shores. And like you, they became American citizens. Together, they raised a big family, and as a testament to this country's promise, their grandson stands before you as a federal judge. Through my grandparents' story, I know what it takes to reach for the American dream. Each of you has reached for that same dream. You have traveled vast distances, overcome great obstacles, and made tremendous sacrifices, all to provide a better life for yourselves and your families. And now, surrounded by the very documents that embody the values of this nation, you have taken a sacred oath to assume the highest office in the land, the office of citizen. As you embark on this new journey, I would like to share a few thoughts about the role of citizens in our democracy. Some 250 years ago, our country, true to its revolutionary roots, was founded on 2 radical propositions. First, that our government has limited power and is allowed to carry out only the functions expressly permitted by the Constitution. And second, that our citizens enjoy certain fundamental rights codified in the Bill of Rights, which yield to no authority. Together, these 2 principles reflect the most revolutionary idea of all, that power originates from we, the people. By limiting government, enumerating rights, and empowering the people, our founders proclaimed that the heart of America would be its citizens, not its rulers. These principles have stood the test of time, even as our country has undergone tremendous change. At the founding, America had a population of only 2.5 million people, residing in 13 states, all east of the Mississippi. America was illuminated by fire and whale oil, and we traveled on sailing ships and horseback. Today, our population is 130 times that size. We span the entire continent and send messages at the speed of light. We have gone to the moon and back again. Yet as our nation has changed, our founding principles, limited government, inalienable rights, remain at the heart of our democracy. Our system has worked. Through civil war and strife, the power of the people has been strong and resilient. But our democracy is still far from perfect. From its inception, America has been a nation of both ideals and imperfections. If our founders' greatest innovation was recognizing the power of the citizen, their greatest failure was in limiting who could be one. Our original Constitution permitted slavery, counting nearly 20% of the population as only 3/5 of a human being. Only white property-owning men had the right to vote. But as that perceptive observer of early America, Alexis de Tocqueville, recognized, the greatness of America lies not in being better than any other nation, but rather in her ability to repair her faults. He was right. The injustices of our past have not defined us. Instead, our founding principles and the courage of our citizens have ensured that our democracy has always provided a better tomorrow. We amended the Constitution to overcome the faults of our past and to reflect our changing union. We abolished slavery, prohibited racial discrimination, and expanded the right to vote. And at the heart of these movements were citizens just like you, new Americans breathing new life into our national motto, E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Immigrants have played a crucial role in perfecting our union since the very founding. 7 of the 39 men who signed the Constitution were immigrants. So was 1 in every 4 soldiers who fought for the Union during the Civil War. Thousands of immigrant laborers laid the railroad tracks that connected our nation from sea to shining sea. Immigrants have played leading roles in the struggles for civil rights, women's rights, and workers' rights. They have become governors, judges, and cabinet members. And still others have pioneered scientific breakthroughs and run businesses across the country, from corner shops to internet giants that span the globe. To be sure, our democracy is still far from perfect. Almost half our citizens do not vote. And too few appreciate the wisdom of our Constitution and the fundamental rights it protects. Nearly a quarter of our children live in deep poverty, and we still struggle to understand each other across racial, religious, and socioeconomic lines. Yet we strive to live up to our ideals, to be a more perfect union. Today, with the oath you have taken, you join in this extraordinary project. You have already made America better by enriching its communities, building its economy, teaching its children, nursing its sick. And from this day forth, you will do this as informed citizens, voting in elections, serving on juries, engaging in civic discourse. As new Americans, you will help protect the basic principles that have preserved our democracy for over 2 centuries. And with your rich and varied backgrounds, you will remind the world that America remains a safe and nurturing home for all. There is no simpler truth. America's greatness lies with her citizens. I am proud and humbled to welcome you into the American story. Congratulations.
This concludes the ceremony. This honorable court is now adjourned. Everyone, please be seated. Congratulations, my new American brothers and sisters. Now you got to have proof that you're a citizen. So now what we're going to do is get your certificates and hand them out. Okay? Everyone else relax, calm, talk. It's okay. We're going to start off with the back row. Everyone can come up.
Marion
Let's line it up.
Justini. Rahani Garuyu.
Congratulations, my little sister. You can just walk on up.
Boyan.
My American brother. Congratulations. Way to go.
Jillian Hesh.
My American brother. Congratulations.
Adrian Govia.
Congratulations, my American sister. Way to go.
Hartmut Eric Schneider. Vladimir Antikaro.
Congratulations. Next row, next row.
Jaime Manzan.
My American brother. Congratulations.
Maria
Brother,
Melendez.
congratulations.
Abdul Seaver.
My American sister, congratulations. Y'all can clap, y'all can talk.
David
American brother. Congratulations, my brother.
Spinova. Samatat
American brother. Congratulations, my brother. That's for everything. You're welcome, thank you.
McKay.
My American
Louis.
sister, congratulations.
Jean-Claude
My American
Nascimento.
sister, congratulations.
Joey Newsom,
My American brother. Congratulations, my brother.
Nofan.
Congratulations, my sister.
Olesi
My
Umeka.
American sister. Congratulations.
Gregory Campbell.
My American brother. Congratulations, my brother. Finally.
Soshi Vasquez.
My brother. Congratulations, baby. Good time.
Mira Hussain.
My American sister. Congratulations.
Julio
My American sister. Congratulations.
Shanam.
My American brother. Congratulations, my brother. Good job. My American sister. Congratulations.
Bernice Legore.
My American sister. Congratulations.
Khalifa Muhammad.
My American, you better give me something. Come on, baby. You better get it.
Gustavo.
My American brother. Congratulations. She gonna try to get her here now shaking my hand. What's wrong with her?
Monica. DK.
American brother. Way to go.
And Sarah Lafreniere.
My American sister. Congratulations. My American sister. Congratulations. Now we're going to the reception. Thank the voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's naturalization ceremony. Please follow our volunteers out to the reception room. To see photos of today's event, please visit at www.flickr.com/archivesnews.